Hello and welcome to another AIC Productions video. So today I am doing a quick mini update on my Ethereum mining machine. My last video I showed that I was running three GTX 1050 Ti cards, and that worked great for about 5-6 days. It's been a couple weeks now, probably pushing 3 weeks now actually, since I recorded that video. And yeah, it worked great for about 5 days, and then it crashed and would not recover. When I say wouldn't recover, every time I went to power it back on, as soon as I tried to start mining again, it would just crash. And I took out the third graphics card, and it worked great with just two. So I've been running with two. If you watch my last video about the Lenovo IdeaPad 110S, you can hear in the background of the video a ton of fan noise. Reason being is the case fans I bought are ridiculously loud. So I have actually unplugged those because it was so loud. It was actually very difficult to work in my office, and my whole goal was to have a machine I could work on while it was mining. Since my goal was actually to have a machine first and then to actually happen to have it mine as kind of like a side thing. The other thing that I've run into is periodically, and I think this is a network issue, I have Cox, I'm in Arizona, and I think periodically Cox just blocks the port. And I get an error message, and sometimes it will recover and sometimes it will not. So my mining actually doesn't go down, it doesn't stop, I just start getting an error message. So far, these are the fans I bought. Rosewill 120 millimeter case fans. It said silent in the name, I should have known better. It says they run at 37 dB, but they actually push at about 52 dB. I downloaded an app on my phone, and that's what it was saying that the machine was making. Right now with those fans off, I'll even tell you what it is currently. So right now the machine's at about 40 decibels. Here, I'll bring this up here. There you go. Yeah, about 40 until I start talking. So yeah, so with those fans it was pushing the 50 to 60 range, and they also had a bit of a whine that was just really loud. So I've unplugged them, which means I also had to detune my cards. I'd overclocked them quite a bit, and they were running great at the overclock with the fans, and they're running cool, but it was just too loud. So I had to turn my clock down a little bit on the two cards. I'll show you here. So I currently only have a 198 megahertz overclock on the memory. I had an overclock of 910, I want to say 900 at least. And I was getting a much better hash rate out of that. I was getting almost a full mega hash more on each card than I'm getting right now, and it definitely made a difference in my shares I was getting. So I've lost some shares with that reduction of overclock. This is where I'm at so far. You can see where I dropped off last night. Lost it about, or excuse me, this morning actually. I lost it about 7 o'clock, 7:10. I was able to get back online at 8:20. It's usually around 2 o'clock, but it's not every time. Here's another drop here. This was at 11:20 at night. Here was another pretty big drop that took me a minute to get everything going again. It was at 2 a.m. that I dropped off, 150, somewhere in there. So it hasn't been the most stable. running. With the 3 cards, the whole computer would just crash. Now it's just the mining itself just stops running for whatever reason. Now, this is the expansion card I was running. Sorry, let me turn off the monitor for a second. So this was the expansion card I was running, and I think this actually might be the problem. So I ordered another one. I have it on the card, but I decided not to plug it in for 2 reasons. One, there's just too much heat. I think it just was getting too hot because the way my case is, I can't actually have this vent to the outside like it needs to. So it's just sitting in my case, and I just had it sitting upright like this because that's the only room I had. Because this card, as you can see, is a lot thicker than the video card, and so it interferes with the motherboard. The 2 cards I have in there, one I have plugged into the 16X slot, and then the other one I have to have all the way at the bottom of the case so that the riser card doesn't interfere with the motherboard. So I had here up on the screen. Let me turn the monitor back on. So I ordered a couple of these, and they should be coming in at the end of this week. Supposedly they're coming from China, so who really knows. I'm hoping with these I can plug in the other 2 cards, and because they take up so much less room but do the same thing, that I'll be able to use them and have all 3 cards being able to vent to the outside. I also have a couple of more fans coming, but I don't know if I bought the right fan. So if you have a recommendation for a good performing and yet very quiet case fan that's reasonably priced, because there's some out there that are like $30 per fan, that's just a bit much. I would really appreciate that recommendation, because I would like to be able to determine to cool the system down a little bit so that I can overclock those cards, so I can be pushing, because I think I was getting about 39, almost 40 mega hash a second. Right now I'm getting about 24 mega hash a second. So definitely would prefer to get this back up again, because I'll go about 15 mega hash faster with that 3rd card and with the higher overclock. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. My temperatures right now are sitting about 71 to 72 degrees, which is kind of warm for my taste, but it is pretty quiet in here. I don't mind it running. I just want it to run a little bit faster. So if I can get some quieter case fans, get the 3rd card up and running correctly, I think I was just creating too much heat for the case to have those 3 cards in there and have the 3rd card not venting to the outside. Either that, or I've killed the 3rd card. I haven't tested it yet. Somebody asked me about using a kilowatt to measure my voltage that I'm using, the amount of power I'm using. I do have one. It's sitting on my shelf. What I need is, I currently have multiple things plugged in to the same power strip. I have my modem, my television, it's not my television, my monitor, my PlayStation, my external storage drive, as well as the computer. So I need to get another power strip or something to plug in, so I'm running just the computer off of it, so I can have a more accurate measure of the power I'm using, just because I do have so many things plugged into the same strip. It'd probably be a better idea to do that just anyways, so I'm not pulling so much power through one power strip, but so far everything seems to be working just fine. So yeah, again, this is a 2-ish, 3-ish week update on mining with the GTX 1050 Ti's. So far so good. I have a friend. Okay, so if you're going to comment about I should have bought a GTX 1060, you do need to buy a 4 gig card, because pretty soon the 3 gig card is going to be out of, it will no longer be able to be used. So you'll need to have the 6 gig 1060. The cheapest one I could find right now was $380. And so if you're going to compare cost for cost, you can still pick up two GTX 1050 Ti's for about $150 a piece if you shop it, and so that is under $300 for the two cards, and you get a higher hashing power. So one, I have a coworker, so I'm not just pulling this out of my butt, a coworker who's running a 1060 overclocked. He's getting about 18 mega hash. I'm running two GTX 1050 Ti's, which cost me $300-ish for the two cards, and I'm getting 24 mega hash a second. If I can cool them down, I can get closer to 28 mega hash a second in there, 26 to 28 mega hash in there for those two cards. So cost wise, it definitely is better to run two 1050s than it is to run a 1060. Now, if you have the cash, one 1060 outperforms one 1050, and if you can have two 1060s, obviously you're going to outperform two 1050s. But your power consumption is going to be a lot higher, and your initial investment is going to be significantly higher. Or you'll have to find a smoking deal that I just, in a quick brief search, was not able to find myself to buy those cards. So I've gotten a number of those comments, and one guy was telling me that his 1060 was outperforming my two 1050 Ti's, but was unable to provide me proof. So if you have one card that's outperforming my two cards, show me the proof, I'll believe it. But at this moment, with current video card prices, unless you can get a smoking deal on a 1060, you're better off with two 1050 Ti's. Now, if you're going to have multiple cards and you're going to have a massive rig with, you know, if you're going to have 4, 5, 6, 8 cards, whatever it's going to be, that means you have a lot more money, and you're able to put a much bigger investment into higher end cards, and you're probably going to be looking at 1070s, possibly 1080s for that. So, but yeah, if you're going to try to tell me something, show me proof. You know, I want to see hard numbers. I'm not just going to look at, you know, somebody trying to blow smoke. Give me something solid, and then I'll definitely look into it. So, anyways, if you have any questions, again, feel free to ask in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to answer those as they come up. I do have some links in the description. If you like my videos, you want to support this channel, please use my Amazon partner link. That's my best bet there. I also have a Patreon. I don't really push that much, but you know, again, if you want to support this channel, feel free, throw me something through Patreon. I really appreciate it. And yeah, definitely look forward to hearing from you and your comments. Definitely a suggestion on that case fan. I've done a ton of research, and the recommendations are all over the place, and I don't know enough about acoustics to make a smart decision without relying on somebody else's information. So I really appreciate it, and I hope you have an amazing day.